Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I just woke up from the best nap ever. If you're an OG, you know that I love a weekend nap. They're so good for the soul. They're so good for everything. And after this last weekend, I needed to nap. Usually, when I leave Garrett for multiple days, I usually come back and I cannot shut up. I'm talking about this and that and everything that we did on the trip or everything that I experienced. And this trip, I was so quiet. He actually was like not home when I got home. He was working with my dad and I called him and was like, hey, I just got home. Do you want to run to lunch? It was like around 11:30, 11:45-ish. And he was like, you know what? I have about an hour left of painting, so I won't be able to like go to lunch until I'm finished. I was like, perfectly good. I'm gonna like go home and kind of like get started on reacclimating myself to being at home. So I have my like suitcases, I get them all out, I bring them inside, and I looked at the suitcases, and the suitcases looked back at me, and I was like, I just did not have the energy. I had like the best weekend ever, but I did not sleep hardly, so I looked at the suitcases, and I was like, you know what, like, I'm just gonna like give it a rest. It's still the day of like coming back from the trip, so I'll probably start a load of laundry before we go out for supper or whatever. But I could not work up the motivation. I am the kind of girl who will immediately start putting clothes in the washer because I hate having like dirty clothes sit in a suitcase. And for this trip, I literally packed 3 bags. If you haven't already, go listen to the overpacking, professional overpacker episode to explain more why. But I had 3 bags and there was several themed nights. I went to Nashville this last weekend for one of my best friends' bachelorette weekend, and we had like different themed nights. So there was several outfits in my suitcases. And I was like, you know what, like they can rest. They can kind of stew in the suitcases. It will be completely fine. And then I sat on the couch and I scrolled on my phone for an hour until Garrett got home. We went and we picked up some burritos, came back home, and immediately took a nap. It was so good. I felt like my body just really needed it. And it was kind of funny. We get in the car and Garrett's like, how are you doing? How was the trip? And he's like, why are you're being a little quiet, is everything okay? And he actually, when I boarded the plane, I like to give a little text, text updates. I left Nashville early this morning, and it was like 5:30. The Uber picked us up. Me and 2 other girls had an earlier flight than the rest of the people on the trip. I knew I was gonna have like a list to do when I got home, like record a podcast. And the rest of the girls, their flight leaves at like 10 p.m. and I knew that just was not going to work for my personality because I like to get home when the activities are finished. Like I love a structured life and I love like having all my things and kind of having that time alone to reset for the upcoming week, so that I feel the most grounded and the most prepared. So we left at 5:30. I texted Garrett. I was like on my way to the airport. We started boarding the plane. I said boarding. When we landed, and he was like sending texts back, right? Like, so I was like leaving for the airport. He didn't get up until probably 6:30. And he texted, he's like, great, I can't wait to see you. And honestly, like we were still chatting so much. I wasn't really on my phone. I was trying to be present and have conversation with these girls that I have not seen in such a long time. So we're like chattering even in the Uber and at 5:30 in the morning. So then I was like boarding. He's like, yay. And then once I landed, I said, like, landed. And he's like, is everything okay? I was like, yeah, I can't wait to see you or something like that. And I put like a bunch of hearts because I realized that I was like not texting in the way that was like upbeat, you know? And he called me while I was like still on the plane. We were about to get off and he's like, hey, like, is everything all right? And I was like, yeah, everything's good. Like, we just landed. I will text you when I pick up my vehicle from Adriana's because that still gives me like 30 minutes home. And I like am in the car with him. We're going to pick up lunch. And he's like, you seem really, really quiet. Like, is everything all right? Did you have fun on the trip? I was like, Garrett, I had a blast on the trip. Like, I had a blast. I loved it. I talked so much. We were in different like bars with like loud music, and I wanted to chat and I wanted to catch up, and I feel like I talked so much that I was just like, I have nothing to say right now. And that's so unlike me because I love to talk. And I was like, you know, I just like need a moment. And I really think that that nap brought me back to life because now I'm like, oh yeah, like we can chat, we can have a little hangout. But I felt really bad for him because Garrett was like excited, and of course like I have been entertained all weekend. Garrett has not been entertained, right? Like he went to Hot Country Nights in Kansas City on Thursday night, but other than that, like he just had a regular weekend without his wife. Like I wasn't home, so he was all by himself, and he's like wanting to chat obviously. And I was like, oh Garrett, like I feel so bad. But the nap was so needed. It was so good. And I love a weekend nap. Like if I don't have a weekend nap, I'm not happy with my life because that's one of my non-negotiables. That's what makes me happy. That's what just adds so much satisfaction in my life. I used to have to work Saturdays, like half day Saturday, which isn't too bad, but it kind of wrecks your entire day. So I give props to anybody who has to work on the weekend or whatever their structure of job is, but I used to have to work on Saturdays and it would just drain me mentally. Even if I got like a half day in the middle of the week, sometimes I just like worked overtime and it was brutal on my mental. So I felt like I didn't have a proper weekend, and like the second half of Saturday I would need to kind of recuperate after working, right? Like you need a little separation from working into like going into relaxation, and some people can do it automatically. Other people need like a small transition. I'm one of those people that needs a small transition, like a little bit of time to reacclimate myself, to just get in the right mindset. And I felt like a little, I don't know, rebellish about, okay, I had to spend like the first part of my Saturday super structured, which I like structured when I can pick it, but when it's like something like a job, when I have to have a customer service voice, when I have to put other people's needs before mine, right? Like it's not a selfish time, I'm there to be paid. And then transitioning into like my weekend, I would almost like just kind of rebel against myself, my choices, whatever, and I'd waste the second half of my Saturday because I'd be like, well, I deserve to not do anything. I deserve to lay on this couch and scroll social media, or I deserve watching a movie because this is my time and I can do whatever I want with my time. But that bit me in the butt because then Sunday would roll around and it would all of a sudden hit me. I would get the Sunday scaries and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like tomorrow I have to get right back at it. Like I have to go to work and I have to do it all over again. And so my Sunday would have like a bunch of just stress, right? Like just stress of stupid stuff. And I'm like, I'm gonna have to go to work tomorrow. Like my entire weekend is wasted. I'm so mad. I'm so sad. Like, and I would then have to fit everything into my Sunday, or I would feel really, really guilty about, oh gosh, like I have to work tomorrow. If I take a nap, like that's wasting my weekend because I could be doing shopping or going to the farmer's market or working out or doing any of those things. And it was not great for me. So I'm just extra grateful when I can get a weekend nap in and I feel good about myself. Even if it's 3 hours long, I don't care, because those hours I've chose to nap, to recuperate, to rest and allow myself to relax. And I used to not be able to relax or be able to take some time off and not think about all the stressors or whatever the obligations I had starting work Monday morning. So I love my weekend naps. They're so important to me. They're so good for my brain, and also just like that self-love and appreciation that I am able to do that for myself. Some people might see it as productive or unproductive, but I see it as productive because I just like go all the time. I don't ever have it's very hard for me to rest. It's very hard for me to have those relaxing moments because I just try to be as productive as possible and try to push the needle and try to do too much, honestly. I love doing too much in the way I like being extra, but sometimes it's counterproductive. So taking these little naps and hanging out, it's really good for the soul, and I absolutely needed it. So we headed down to Nashville. Wednesday night, I drove up to Adriana's house. I slept over. It was so much fun. I barely got any sleep that day that night because we had to be up and at the airport. And one of my very good sorority sisters was there. We slept over at Adriana's house and we talked so long. We didn't go to bed until 12:30. Had to be up at 4 o'clock the next morning so that we could get to the airport. My body woke me up a little bit before 4. I hate it when that happens. Whenever you have, I hate it. It's like a love-hate relationship. When you have that big event the next morning, you set your alarm for a time that's earlier than you've done for a while, right? It's a special event, it's a special something. And then your body wakes you up 30 minutes before you're supposed to get up. It's good and it's bad because part of me is oh, I'm wide awake. I'm so happy. I woke up before my alarm. I am not groggy. And then some little sabotaging part of your brain says, you know what? You should be able to sleep a little bit longer. And you close your eyes and you wait for your alarm, and then something happens where you go back into that deep sleep and your sleep cycle, your REM cycle isn't completed. So that's where you get the most groggy, and you wake up at the right time, you press snooze and you're I'm gonna be late now. No. My body woke me up a little bit earlier than we were supposed to leave, which I'm glad for. I was already packed and it was a shorter drive by staying at Adriana's. Plus I didn't have to drive. I feel the mental capacity to get in the vehicle and actually oh, I'm gonna drive. There's gonna be other individuals on the road. You have to be paying attention instead of me just waking up, getting in the car, kind of being sleepy or chatting or scrolling on your phone, not having that complete focus. So I was very grateful. Adriana's fiance drove us and we got there. It was great. But I didn't get much sleep that very first night. And everybody else, who didn't stay at Adriana's, there was 11 of us girls who went. They did not, they got a full night's sleep. I was the one who didn't get a good night's sleep, me and Hattie. And Adriana, of course. But we had all of our stuff packed. We made it to Nashville bright and early that morning. I think we landed at 9. We ended up going to Adriana's uncle's house. He has a beautiful house in Tennessee, and we stayed there. They had this built-in pool. That's honestly one of my favorite things about getting off a plane and straight into water. My parents are separated, so when growing up we would have to drive back and forth so that I could visit my dad. and it's a 6-hour drive. I remember one summer, it was so freaking hot in the car that we were driving and all of us kids were like super sweaty because there's 5 of us kids. And I just remember we stopped at the public pool and hung out with my aunt and my cousins before I went to my dad's. And that was honestly the best time to come from a sticky car with my siblings, a 6-hour drive, to putting on my swimsuit and jumping in that water. I just remember feeling so cleansed and so like it rejuvenated me, and it was so good. So I like felt I was back in my childhood from going on this long travel and then being able to get in the pool. It was revitalizing. I guess like water is very healing, like with its healing properties, but anytime like we have a big trip or anything, I want to immediately hop in the shower, right? Like you have to cleanse some of the dirt, the grime, the airport air, or the recycled car air, you know what I mean? So it's always good to like jump in the shower, do a little scrub down, refresh. And so being submerged completely in a pool, it's a different feeling than the shower, right? Like a shower, yes, you can get clean. It feels so, so good, but there's just something so immersive or something so special about immersing yourself in the water. It's just like, oh, this is relaxing. And Adriana's aunt had these like cute little heart floaties in the pool, and all of us girls were just like lounging, snacking. She had like this perfect spread. It was honestly goals. Like I cannot wait until I'm at a place in my life where I have this big, beautiful house. And if someone wants to come over, right, I have 2 nieces and a nephew. If someone wants to come over and hang out, like I'm able to host them. I'm able to prepare all the snacks and have them out. She had like these little crystal bowls. It was so freaking cute, like M&Ms and some. And then she had like artichoke dip or spinach dip. I can't remember honestly what it was. I was just ravenous, right? Like we got off the plane and we immediately went to her house. And like I felt like I was 10 years old again, honestly, because the perfect day is getting in the water, swimming around, you know, getting a little tired, laying out. She had these beautiful little like chairs, lounging chairs. So after like getting in the pool and like hanging out, I went and I laid on those little chairs. And since I was so tired from the previous night, I took a little nap. And I think honestly, I was probably outside for like on those benches, the like pool lounging chairs for probably 30 minutes, but I got into a wonderful sleep and I did not burn, but I definitely got a little bit of sun. And I had like a crisscross tan line because I got a new swimsuit and it was kind of like crissy-crossy in the back. And I was like, okay, like you're feeling so warm, so golden, from like coming out of the pool, hanging out, laying on these chase lounges. Went inside, had a little bit more of a snack, right? Like after my nap, had a snack, was lounging in the house, and then all of a sudden, Tennessee had a little pop-up storm and it starts raining. It's so dark outside and we're just like lounging in the living room and talking, and it's storming outside, so much so that we had to run outside, grab all of our swimsuits that were like drying on like the railing, and we had to put the floaties away and then came inside, and it was just, that would have been it was the perfect summer day. No matter what age you were or are or whatever, that was the perfect summer day. I love it when summer is like ending with a thunderstorm. Like a summer thunderstorm is just so good for the soul, so good for the body. And being in the sun and like toasted, it literally, just thinking about it brings an absolute smile to my face. If you're watching on YouTube, I have not stopped grinning. It was the best time. I don't know. So we hung out there for a little bit until we were able to go into our Airbnb. We got there at like 3:30. Everybody picked their rooms. It was Dolly themed. So there was like pink walls and a huge portrait of Dolly Parton, and so it was on 3 levels. the bottom level, like where you walked in, then there was these stairs, and it was the living room area, and then a little bit taller, or the next floor was, it had three rooms in it. So we all dispersed. There was 11 of us, so we got all of the rooms. Someone slept on the couch, and there was like a little, it looked like a closed, like a wardrobe, like a little, I'm not sure what you call it, but like just a little, oh my gosh, what the heck are they called? A bureau? Oh my gosh, I wish I could be able to tell you what it meant, but it was just like this little piece of furniture. It looked like it had drawers on it, but it was like fake drawers. It was actually a bed. It like converted to a bed and laid out. It was so cool. So I slept downstairs, and the floors were concrete. So it was very nice, like it was very, very cute. But that room, the bottom level, was the coolest, literally, like temperature wise. So every single night, the little bit of sleep I did get, I was completely out. I had my earplugs in, my little ear plugs. I always say earplugs because of AirPods. My earplugs in, and a face mask. I got these face masks. I think they're silk, but it could be fake. From Amazon. It was like, came in a pack of 2 for like $5, so I'm sure it's fake, but it said it was real, and it came with this like little like paper guide, and it was like, real silk burns, fake silk will just like get all crummy and like plasticky. I was like, okay, bet, but I'm not gonna take the time to burn this face mask. Like, are you kidding me? No, like I'm gonna use the face mask. So when I did get some sleep, it was a good deep sleep. I thoroughly enjoyed it. But the house was really, really cute. Like, it had all of the necessary items to make like a perfect bachelorette trip. I will say they only had 3 bathrooms. There was a master bedroom upstairs, and it had a bathroom. And then there's like this kid's room, because it had a full bed, or a queen bed, at the bottom, and then at the top it had like 2 bunk beds. So and it would be like head to head or feet to feet at the top. So it kind of looked like, if you can imagine, like a square arch, and then the bed was underneath. It reminded me of college, like if you ever lofted your bed in college, and then had your desk underneath, or your roommate's bed underneath the lofted bed. It was very, very similar. And then they had a bathroom, and then in the living room area, they had a bathroom, but downstairs did not have a bathroom. So when we were like trying to get ready, we'd have to go upstairs and try and find a restroom, and take a shower, like all the things that you need to do. And I honestly like wish there was a bathroom downstairs. I felt like I was back in college personally, because I would have to run to a different level at my dad's house to use the bathroom, because there was only one bathroom at my dad's house. So I was like running around. It was a lot of fun though, and we did all the necessary like bachelorette themes. It was, oh my gosh, it was veil bound. I can't even think of the little theme. So we like blew up all these balloons. We had like a little, what the heck was it called? Brewing? What? Oh my gosh. It had a K in it, because the K kept falling. And I cannot remember what it was, but it was the cutest little theme. Obviously we were in Nashville, so it was very, very country, if you will. Whiskey bent and veil bound. I knew there was a K in it, but so we blew up all these balloons. We forgot tape. We did not have tape, and so we had like the streamers, and the streamers had self-adhesive on the back of it. So I was thinking, okay, like this whiskey bent and veil bound, they're not balloon arches, but they're like stringed balloons, and so you usually put them on for like a little background moment. And I was like, how are we gonna get these up? And I was thinking, I like peeled some of the adhesive off of like the streamer, And I was like, I can like try to tape it here, and then maybe we can just have longer strings, or I can tie it to like some of the tinsel. And I was just brainstorming, thinking, how are we going to get this up? How are we going to make this look right? Because nobody has tape. And we made Adriana stay downstairs so that we could get the living room decorated, really kick off the bachelorette theme. And I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm standing on a bench. I'm trying to like trying to adhere this somehow to the streamers, the little like background. And as I'm looking, and we had to remove like this huge framed photo piece. So we removed it. We're like, this wall works best. We removed that piece, we put it in the closet, and then we're gonna hang it on this like bare wall piece. And as I'm like looking, and I'm like, oh, like, how am I gonna do this? I look a little bit higher up, and there was tape. Someone else had done like a banner or something, had the same idea in this spot, and had left tape. Like, I'm sure they just like ripped it down and the tape stayed. I was like, oh my gosh, like how lucky are we that there was tape left? So I recycled and used that tape, and I just like stuck it. I was like, yes, like we have tape. This is so exciting. And then we blew up the balloons, and it was perfect. It was the best weekend ever. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The first night we wore wigs. So I had a green wig, and I ended up buying like this little Lululemon set. So it was like some light green shorts and then this halter top, athletic wear, because I really, really hate buying an outfit that is not going to be used again. I think it's so, I don't know, like it's just wasteful to purchase something and not use it again. And I was like, you know what, instead of purchasing something I will never, ever, ever, ever wear after this, right, like a lime green dress or something that was super out of my comfort zone or out of my color wheel, I was like, this light lime green I can wear again. I can wear these shorts. They're like the perfect length. They're super, super cute. And also, I am all about functionality. We were going to be walking a lot. We walked a lot. Like, I felt really good about all the walking because I've been trying to do the 10,000 to 15,000 steps every single day since July, honestly, when I got my treadmill. So I was like, I need to stick with my little treadmill walking, because if I am not like at home, like how am I going to stick to my routines? But we walked around a lot, so that helps with my step count. But I wanted to make sure that my shoes were proper. I only ended up wearing boots one night. And the rest of the time I wore these like little platforms, these strappy sandals. They're so fun. And I was perfectly happy with my decision. I felt like with the platform, my feet were too close to the ground, because I feel like sometimes sandals in a city can be a little gross, right? Like, yeah, there's so much stuff on the streets and the bars and stuff, but these platforms gave me enough protection. I did not have any problems with like getting anything yucky on my feet, so I was very happy about that. But I felt like my outfits were all comfortable. I felt super, super comfortable, and I also I wanted to be able to use them again. I wanted to be able to have them and not throw them out, or not try like a year from now donate them because I haven't worn them since. So I was very happy with like Lululemon investment piece, whatever. Like, it's something that I wear all the time. It's a brand that I love. It's part of my wardrobe already. So that's what I did. And my green wig, it wasn't like a light green. This was like a true Kelly green. It was so freaking dark, and it's also a little short, so I was like living the short hair moment. Even though the green was like super obnoxious, all the colors were obnoxious, like red and blue and pink and purple. And then Adriana, the bride, had a super, super white wig. It was like, Daenerys Targaryen, whatever, the dragon queen from, what was that show called? You know what I'm talking about. Not Lord of the Rings, that is so dumb. What the heck was it called? Anyways, it doesn't matter. So her hair was like super, super platinum, translucent white. Like, it was the cutest wig. She looked so good in all of her white outfits. She looked extra, extra tan, like the perfect bride. And I was just so happy that she was happy, and her outfits were so, so cute, and her wig was just exceptional, and we all looked so good together. Like, maybe separated, I didn't look that good with my green wig, but together we were iconic. It was so cool to have everyone in a different color. I loved it. I also think that one thing that really set us apart was the fact we matched our outfit and our wigs together. Some bachelorettes that we saw had wigs, but they didn't make it like a complete theme. So they only had like the colored wig, and then they wore whatever they want, like a country outfit or a blackish outfit. So I thought we definitely, like, there was many photos taken of us, but the wigs, they were iconic. They were so, so cute. I really enjoyed them. But that was the first night, and it was the longest day because we had gotten up so early. We went to the pool, and then we went out to all the bars. We got home pretty early in the morning, and the next day, like, we were all just like tired, but we rallied. Okay, we were still really fresh. The first 2 days we went hard. Like, we went very hard. We went to a multitude of places and walked around, talked, chatted. We did goat yoga, which was more fun than I expected. So if you've never heard of goat yoga, essentially you have a yoga instructor there, and then these little baby goats that are trained to interact with you during the session. When I say interact, I mean jump on your back. So we first get there. It's a very cute setup. I walk in, and all 11 of us, right? And so we see the mats, and there's cubbies on the, like, as soon as you walk in. So that's like to remove your shoes and to put like your bags and stuff. So here I am unbuckling my platform sandals that I absolutely love. So I'm unbuckling them. I have a rounded back, like I'm not flat to the ground. I'm not squatting super deep. And all of a sudden I feel pressure. A goat jumped on my back, and I was like, the class is not even started. So I was the first person to have a goat jump on them, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding. So the goat quickly, not quickly, he stayed there for a while. And actually someone had to help him off because he wanted into the cubbies. He wanted to like eat our stuff. So the like instructor's helper like took him off my back, and I looked to the yoga mats, and one of the yoga mats has a little surprise on it. A goat had peed and pooed on it, and I was like, that is so gross. And they like sprayed the mat down and like swept up the like little droplings and mopped up the urine and disinfected it. So that's fine. But already I was like, ooh, like I grew up on a farm. I had goats. Like we had a little backyard farm at my mother's. We had ducks, we had rabbits, we had chickens and horses, a few cows, and we had goats. And right now my mom has goats currently. So I know all about goats and how they smell, and these are very clean goats, obviously, like they're little babies, so they are cute. So we get on the yoga mats, and we start, and I automatically knew, I was like, there's no way I can do yoga here. I love yoga. I really like the stretching and the mindset about it, but I knew I was going to be way too distracted. So I was like, you know what? I am going to book a yoga session for Tuesday when I get back. Like, it will be fine. I'm not going to use this time to do the yoga. I'm instead going to focus on the other girls. I'm going to take photos of everyone, take videos. So I was on my mat, and I did a few like little sessions, and she said I wasn't being disrespectful to the instructor. A few other girls weren't participating as much in the yoga. She said the yoga was designed to maximize the interaction with the goats, right? So she was like, you can do the yoga, you can just play with the goats if you want, like you can do, it was very like non-committal. So I was like, cool, cool, cool. And a few times the goats did jump on my back, right? Like I needed a little stretching. I had shared bed with my sister-in-law because Adriana is related to my husband. We're sorority sisters, like we went to college together, all these things, and it just so happened I married her cousin. So my sister-in-law was there, we shared a bed, and I was like, I didn't want to spread out. Usually I sleep sideways, and I was very nervous about like sleeping because even if it wasn't Riley, like it could have been anybody, and I was like, oh, like when you sleep with someone who is not your family, like direct family, I'm talking about like my sisters, like I've slept with my sisters all my life, like we would hop in each other's beds and chatter throughout the night, whatever. So I didn't want to embarrass myself, you know, I didn't want to be on her side, I didn't want to steal her covers, I didn't want to kick her, so I was like very conscious of how I slept. I went to like stretch my body, so I was looking forward to the goat yoga. It just wasn't like the exact event that I imagined. I also thought it was going to be outside, but it was in like this little garage area. It was very fun. Everyone had a blast, and we were talking the entire time. So goat yoga was like one of the big events we did. We also did a pedal car. That was so much fun. At first I thought the pedal bike was going to be too much work. I thought that we were going to have to really pedal. I thought that we were going to like be working out essentially. And I did not know how I was going to not only work out, but pedal and drink, right? Like, oof, I was a little nervous. So we get there, and the individuals who own the pedal bike, they were so nice, they were so fun, and they were like, all right, like guys, we're gonna go, like this is Rachel, she's gonna be slinging your drinks, and I'm Danny, and I'll be, you know, directing and essentially like steering the thing. And he's like, 2 of the pedal bikes don't have pedals, those are the resting ones, so if you're hungover, like that's where you sit. And it was a blast, and it was not, because there was a motor in the pedal bike, it was not like super difficult. So we were like pedaling and going down Broadway, essentially in Nashville. And then we stopped at like 3 bars, and we got out, and we would get like a discounted shot or whatever, and we would hang out at the bar a little bit, and then we'd hop back on the pedal bike. It was so fun to see people on the street. It was playing music, and that morning we were feeling extra dead from the night before. We were feeling tired. Some people were deathly hungover, and it was just like, I think it was like the endorphins, being out in the sunshine, day drinking. Like I am a day drinking girly. I don't like to drink all that often, and I definitely don't like to be sloppy drunk or anything like that, but I do enjoy a little seltzer during the day. I think it's so much fun. When we got there was another like party kind of like hanging out by the pedal bike, and we didn't know if that was ours or if we needed to go to like a different location, like and so we were standing there, and Mallory walks up, that's maid of honor, one of my sorority sisters and Adriana's bestie, obviously we're all together. A lot of the girls in the party of 11 were my sorority sisters, and so that was really fun. There was only 3 girls, one was my sister-in-law, and then 2 were Adriana's like childhood friends that were not sorority sisters, so it's very good to like catch up with everyone. So Mallory walks up and she's like, hey, like we have a pedal bike reservation, it's Mallory, you know, and she said her last name, and I was like, oh, okay, like here we are, we're so excited, I hope this is ours. And the group like right next to us automatically like were not happy. They were like, you know, they were a little sad. And the guy was like, oh, I'm so glad that you showed up. What had happened was the other bachelorette party had booked the pedal bike for the weekend after, and that maid of honor in that group accidentally, they messed up and she thought she booked it for the weekend that they were there. So their maid of honor was on the grass crying, and the bride was like, yeah, it's no big deal. But they were hoping we did not show up so that they could take our reservation. And we're like, oh, we're so sorry. Like, we were hopeful that they could fit on. We honestly, our group was very nice. Like, we got along with everybody. We had a really good time. There was no drama. And we were like, oh, like, I'm so sorry. Like, could you come on with us? There was not enough seats. And the pedal bike, you could bring your own cooler of beverages. So they have like this huge cooler of beverages. They're like, oh, like, do you girls want them? Because like, we're just gonna walk down Broadway. We can't bring this cooler. And you're like, absolutely. So they had high noons, which we got all of our seltzers and stuff. Adriana's aunt actually went and purchased us drinks when we were at the pool, and then she said that we could take all of them. She could not find high noons at the store. They just didn't have them. So I was like, oh, how lucky is this? Like, we get to have high noon, and they were the tequila high noons. Grapefruit tequila high noons are my absolute favorite. I think they're so good. So I had some of those, and it honestly, like, I felt so bad for them. And then it ended up, they're like, yeah, you can have our alcohol because we cannot go. So it was like awesome. I was like, heck yeah, like, we got this free alcohol. We're having a blast on this pedal bike. And honestly, I think that was the highlight of the entire trip. Besides like hanging out with Adriana, the pedal bike was so much fun. We also went to this like frozen wine bar. It was called the Co-op, and it was like frozen rosé was like the name, or the theme, I guess. It was like pink, and it was super cute. Obviously the trend Barbie is out, like Barbie's out. I'm trying to like book, I'm trying to go to Barbie. I want to see Barbie so bad. But it was like a very cute store, and they had like themed Barbie shirts, and it was like, come on Barbie, let's go to the Co-op or whatever. Super cute. I had to get a t-shirt. I actually was so proud of myself for not purchasing a ridiculous amount of touristy stuff. My honest opinion about Nashville, it was fun. It was so fun. The group of girls that I was with was magical. We had such a good time, but I only think that I enjoyed Nashville because of the people I was with. I think that if I went to Nashville under any other circumstance with any other people, I think like if I would have went with my family, it wouldn't have been as fun. I think if I would have went with Garrett, I think we would have had a good time, but it was not the vibe in taking your family, or unless your family is like really crazy, I guess. And also like my husband does not like to, like, he's not a dancing guy. Like, I like love to dance. I love to like bust a move. Garrett will slow dance with me, but he will not like crazy dance with me. I think really you can only crazy dance with like your girlfriends, right? Like jumping up and down and like screaming and being obnoxious. Like, that is reserved for your besties. That is reserved for the girls. And we, like, I love that part, like dancing in the middle of the dance floor, screaming and just like busting out all the moves. Nashville was so packed. There were so many people. The Ed Sheeran concert was that weekend as well. So people were like at the Ed Sheeran concert, and then they were, you know, also enjoying Nashville, and we ended up like just having a blast. Each of like the Nashville bars had different floors. So, and on each floor was a different live band. So like bottom floor band, second floor band, fourth floor a band. And that was so fun because when one band finished their set, we went to the next one, and it was just like, it was great music. I will say, at the karaoke bar, I heard the same songs over and over, and of course they had like each of like the levels, and each band, they would play like a classic. Like Last Night by Morgan Wallen. I heard that song so many good times. I love that song. Like, It's such a jam. I loved it, and I was on the edge of hearing it too much. I was like, please don't ruin this song for me. Definitely heard a lot of Shania Twain, heard Country Roads Take Me Home. Your very typical songs. Like there was a few songs that I heard probably 3 or 4 times, but it was fun because I was with the girls. It was so fun because we were dancing. It was so fun because we were crazy, because we wanted to be there and we wanted to dance our butts off, right? Like that was a blast. I never have to go to Nashville again, I think. I really don't. Like, if that strip was it, like we did not venture out besides like the goat yoga. We didn't really go to like other spots. Maybe Nashville is different, but my honest opinion of Nashville, it was a little dirty and dive bar-ish. Like Austin, I loved Austin. Chicago, I love Chicago, right? Like those are 2 big cities. Kansas City, I also love Kansas City. Nashville was like a dirty Kansas City. I did not like it as much. I thought it was fun with my girls. Maybe it's just there was a lot of people. Maybe we did not see everything. I think that Adriana's aunt and uncle, they had a beautiful spot. I love that part of Nashville. That part reminded me of Missouri, like having the houses out in the country, but like the actual city part, being in the city, I don't know, like I probably never have to go to Nashville again unless it's for a special event, unless it's like something that I really want to go to. But the actual city, I'm glad I marked it off my list. I saw what I need to see, and I'm good with never going again. I would rather save a trip for a different place. Like I would rather save it for going somewhere that is on like my bucket list, or on a musty state like Maine or Connecticut or Vermont. Like those like are on my list to like go and see. I think those would be so much fun. Or like California, Arizona. My best friend just moved to Florida, so I'm excited to see Andrew and Rachel in Florida. They officially made it like this past week, like Wednesday. They had like officially got into their apartment, so I'm already planning a trip to like go visit them and go see them in Florida. And we're also planning out like trying to see if we could do a Disney like 5K or half marathon. I have not been running lately. I haven't like just really made the time to. I've been walking a lot, I've been cycling, but I've not been running or lifting any weights, which I need to get back on the lifting weight grind. I'm starting next week, this upcoming week. So I'm gonna start. I need to work it back in my routine because I know it's so important for your bones. I know it's so important for your body and your muscle and all of those things. I know. But I'm just trying to get kind of in a routine that I can do anywhere. And I will say I stuck to some of my habits even when I was on vacation. So one of the things that I've been trying to do is get sunlight first thing in the morning. I like to stand out in the sun, even if it's just for a minute or 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. I try to get outside and I try to put the sun on my face. I try to absorb its rays. So I'm standing, each morning I would go outside, get blasted by the sun. That is not especially good when you are tired. You did not get to bed at a reasonable time, and maybe you had a little alcohol in your system, right? Like I definitely drank, and waking up and going outside, getting some sunlight, I was like, this is ultimately, it's good for me. I've read where you get sun in the morning, it will help set your circadian rhythm and it will help your body produce more melatonin during the night. So I am trying to sleep well, right? Like I love my sleep and I want to make sure that I go right to bed. So I'm getting the sun in the morning and I'm standing outside barefoot, mind you, in my pajamas, and I'm trying to get the sunlight. I'm trying to drink my water. I have my Stanley full of water and I'm standing outside. The maid of honor was so sweet. She got us like these little hangover kits, and in the hangover kits were like these little gold eye, like under eye mask, I want to say. So I had these like under eye things on my eyes, and I'm in the sunlight and I'm just trying to soak it up. I'm like, this is habit stacking if I've ever heard of habit stacking. I'm outside. Now, the only thing I was missing was grass. Where we were at, there was no grass. The landscaping was like wood chips and dying dead bushes. None of it was like very vegetation. Like there wasn't like that lush vegetation at all. Our Airbnb was in a construction zone, essentially. Like they were building other things, which is good, especially if you own that Airbnb, because that means your property is going to go up in value with all like the new construction. So it would have been better if I had some grass to like stick my toes in, but there was no grass. But I was outside, I had my Stanley, I was in the sunlight, and I had my eye patches on, and I was like, you know what, this is perfect. So I did that every single morning. It was so good for my habits. It was so good for me to like stick to that routine. Plus I was getting a lot of steps in for like walking around and doing all the things. And it honestly, like, I had a blast. I don't know, like, Mallory did such a good job planning it. All of the girls, like, I miss those girls so much. My sorority sisters, like, I didn't see them. And with how, like, my senior year ended, because I graduated in 2020, I did not get all the last hurrahs. I did not get all the last, like, super fun time to be together, and it was kind of like an abrupt thing, and I really had to mourn that college Logan. I had to mourn that college girl and what she did during her day, and it just reminded me about college, and it reminded me of how far I came and what my mindset was when I was in college and what my mindset is now. And I just honestly, I've been trying to get into a carefree Logan. I'm trying really, really hard to work on not being afraid of, rejection, doing a little rejection therapy. I went and got my nails done with Adriana the night before, I guess Tuesday. I got my nails done with Adriana Tuesday, and then Wednesday after work I drove up to Adriana's. So my nails right now, they're 5 different colors. So my thumb on my right hand is lavender, and then my thumb on my left hand is pink. And then my pointing finger on my left hand is sparkles, and then my pointing finger on my right hand is neon yellow. And so I have 5 different colors, and they're not corresponding with my hands. They're all different. So I have lavender, I have a periwinkle, I have lime green, I have sparkles that is green and pink, and then I have pink. So they're very cute, right? But I'm trying to do a little bit of carefreeness, a little bit of rejection, trying to do more whimsical things, because I find that it brings me more happiness when I don't care what other people think about me. And I'm just trying to be as authentic as possible in the way, I know authentic, that word isn't even authentic anymore, but just trying to do something because I think it will be fun instead of worrying about how it looks to other people. It's been very, very difficult for me. It's been my challenge, honestly. Part of my New Year's resolutions in January, I was like, you know what, I'm tired of being afraid of things. I'm tired of people's opinions of things. I'm going to do what makes me happy, and I am so proud of that. When I think back to me in college or me in high school, I was just so worried about the opinions of others, and also not asking for what I wanted. And I think it's so important to ask for what you want, because when you ask for it, you're more likely to receive it. Because how is anybody supposed to read your mind on what you want? So you have to ask for it in order to get it, or you might never get it, right? Because people can't read your mind. So getting my nails done a different color and also different on each hand, that was so hard for me to do with the nail tech, because I was like, hey, I want 5 different colors. and they tried to talk you into a tip. I was like, I don't want a tip. I just want my short nails, and I want them different colors. That was super hard. My toes are currently bright orange. I'm talking neon orange. My fingers are different colors. I have a tooth gem on my mouth, and I'm wearing what I want to wear. I've never been as confident as I am right now, and I feel like I lost a part of me during the first couple of years out of college, and I have just been trying to rebuild myself and to focus on the positive, focus on the happy, and do what I want, what my inner soul wants, and what is going to make me the most happy. And being around all the girls that I absolutely love from college, it just made me super reflective on how I was in college, and also so proud of myself, but also so proud of these girls, because we were all in college and we were all struggling with one thing after another, and it was so cool to see where everyone was at in their life and what they were doing and what made them happy and where they were at now, moving in different places. Like my girl Jamie Jackson, she's actually one of my sorority littles. She lives in St. Louis, right? And then catching up about her sister who lives in Kansas City now, and where people are in their jobs and careers, and it was also good. And I just want to note this. So my sorority sister Jordan, she was always beautiful, stunning. She had so much confidence in college, right? I remember looking at Jordan and thinking, oh my gosh, you are super inspiring, right? So we're going to all these bars in Nashville, and a bunch of pretty girls, men like to come over and try and chat you up, right? It's harmless, fun. Most of us were married. Some of us were not. Some of us were in relationships, some not. And there was this guy who was kind of creepy, and he came up and was trying to be weird. He was extra drunk, and sometimes you can just tell the vibes are off. I don't like this person. And Jordan says to him, "Are you buying us drinks?" He goes, "No." And she's like, "Then leave, because we don't want any part of you," right? And she's like, "Leave, goodbye, bye." And I was like, could I have done that? And I was like, her doing that made me feel like I had the permission to also do that. If someone is making you uncomfortable, or if someone is being weird to you, your safety is number one. It's your priority. And I just looked at Jordan and was like, oh my gosh, how confident is she? And this guy was like, oh, and I was like, was I being rude? And she's like, goodbye. Because he was being rude. He was being weird. And when I say weird, I don't mean quirky. I mean weird as in I might roofie you weird, okay? So here he is acting suspicious, and she's like, please leave. And not that she would accept a drink from him, but his intentions were not, oh, buy the bride a drink, right? Because you go on the bachelorette trips and it's buy the bride a drink, it's good luck, it's all these things. And she's like, are you buying our bride a drink? No? Okay, you need to leave. Nobody is interested. He was also 40, and we're all in our 20s, so a little suspicious. And he walks away, and then 10 minutes later he comes back and he tries taking a wig off of one of our girls, and he that's also rude. You don't take someone's wig off. That's unacceptable. That's ruining their outfit. I would never. That's almost taking someone's shirt off. You don't take their wig off. And he was being rude, and he got kicked out because Jordan was like, no, called the security guard over, got him removed. That's ridiculous. And I was just like, oh my gosh, surrounding yourself with strong women is so good, and having someone model confidence and assuredness is the best thing possible. So I'm so proud of Jordan I'm also like, I can do that too. So it was just the comparison of who I was in college, who I was in high school, to who I am now, and I'm still working on it, and I'm still trying to do better, and I'm still looking to these girls whom I love with all my heart, and looking for their leadership as well. So it was the best weekend. I truly enjoyed it. I cannot stop smiling, and it was the best time. I'm so glad that we got to celebrate our bride, Adriana. I'm very, very excited for the wedding. And I can't believe it's already July, or the end of July. I remember putting this on my calendar and thinking, oh, it's gonna take all summer. And it was here in a blink of an eye. So I could not be more grateful for the trip. I had the best time. I hope that you enjoyed this little recap episode with me. If you did, please give it a 5-star rating in the Spotify app and write a little review if you're on Apple. I love to see what you guys have to say. But that is it for this episode, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!